up, guys? Just give me one moment. Okay, I'm in my power mode with the sexy glasses and Fire here from Tuts.com. I am back with another game, a small one, a really cool one. We're gonna learn a few tricks. I'm gonna give you a lot of tips and tricks, give you some assignments, hopefully that you will finish, but I don't think that you will. Anyways, you know the drill. I'm gonna share the game that we're gonna create before I create it because you guys just complain. You just look for anything to complain about. If I don't show you the game, you're like, why don't you show us the game at the beginning? And if I show you the game, you're like, oh, you're taking too much in the beginning of the video, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I don't know what to do with you, okay? Let me just hop in the game and see what we are gonna create. So I'm gonna hit the play button. By the way, you can play this game on your mobile device as well. So we have a box that's moving left and right, nothing special. I'm simply gonna click here on the screen. It's gonna drop the box and we're gonna stack the boxes one on another. Stack them like this, again, bam, another one, and then another one, and another one, and another one, like DJ Khaled. Anyways, when I stack the third one, we are gonna start moving the camera up, and of course you are gonna try and stack all the boxes. If I release the box and it falls down like this, then we are gonna restart the game and start from scratch. It's a simple game, it looks simple, but we are gonna discover a few tricks and I'm gonna give you a few assignments that hopefully you will finish, but I don't think you will, but I'm hoping that you will, because then you will learn better. Smash the like, you can download the assets and the complete project link will be in the description below. Smash the subscribe and the notification button, and let's get started. What's cracking, gangsters? I am in a new project, and as always, we are gonna do what? We are gonna finish the video right now because, well, I'm not gonna record anymore. You're not gonna watch it. Just kidding. We're gonna import the assets. So I'm gonna take this sprites folder, simply drag and drop it right here if you want to download these sprites to follow the tutorial, and if you want to download this project, link will be in the description below, but probably I already said that in the beginning of the video. So moving forward, what do we need? So I'm gonna go here inside of the sprites folder and take the box, and I'm going to put it right here. Now, of course, we are going to resize this. So I'm going to say this X scale is going to be 0.2 and Y scale it's going to be 0.2 as well. Now we are also going to have the BG, so I'm going to drag and drop the BG right here in the main camera. So make sure you drag it in the main camera, and while we are at it here, what I'm going to do is take the box and I'm going to set the order in layer into. Why? Well, because if I set the order in layer to -1, then it will be rendered behind, but I'm gonna say 2, so it is rendered always on top of order in layers who have 0. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you will need to watch my video about order, or layer order, so yeah. Anyways, moving forward, by the way, I have here 480 by 800 for the resolution. If you want to set that up, you will need to go into the game tab, click here, right here where it says the resolution, click on the plus button and create your resolution. So width and height, give it a name, hit OK, and you are good to go. So what do we need for our box? First of all, I'm gonna select it and go here under tags and go here add tag, and I'm gonna create all the tags that we need for the game. So we are gonna need a box tag, we are also going to need a platform, so platform tag, and we are going to need a game over tag like this. As you can assume, the box will be tagged with the box tag, so I'm going to select it and I am going to tag it with the box tag. Simple as that. The next thing that we need is add component, and it will be a box collider 2D, but let me just zoom in a little bit on the box. We are going to set the size for the y-axis at 4.85 and size for the x maybe also 4.85. Yeah, I'm going to do it like that just to resize a little bit. I'm also going to go here and attach a rigid body 2D on the box. We are going to set the mass at 1, linear drag at 2, angular drag at 3, and we're gonna leave the gravity scale at 1, and we're not gonna constrain it by freezing the rotation on the z-axis. So I am going to remove that. Okay, so this is our box. Before we continue to do anything else, I'm also going to add our other components in the game. So I'm gonna right click on the main camera and create an empty game object, and this is going to be our game over. So when we fall on the game over object, we are going to end the game, and I'm going to tag it with the game over tag. I'm also going to go here under box component, add component, and attach a box collider 2D. It's going to be a trigger, and for the size X, I'm going to say 26, and the size Y is going to be 0.15. But I'm also going to reposition its Y position at negative 5.18. So voila, we are good to go. As you can see, it's right here. It's right here. You see, it's right here. We don't see it clearly because the background, but if you turn it off, you will see that the game over is right a little bit below the camera. Simple as that, nothing complicated. So we're just positioning things. Now we're also going to have a box spawner. So I'm going to right click here and create an empty game object. This is going to be our box spawner, and I am going to position him at Y position at 3.7. Voila, simple as that. And he is, by the way, if you don't see him, he is right there, you see? Box spawner. Now, of course, these three are children of the camera. So BG, game over, and box spawner, because we are going to move the camera and we need all of them to move along with the camera as well. Now, I'm also going to take this box and again put it right here. And this one is going to be our platform holder, or simply a platform, however you want to call it. I'm going to go here under tag and tag it with the platform tag. And I'm going to attach a box collider 2D on it, and we're going to resize it. So the X is going to be 0.7 and the Y is going to be 0.08, simple as that. But we're also going to reposition it at the bottom. So Y position is going to be negative 4.8, and this is where it is going to stay. So this is where it's going to be. We're going to fall on it with the box, with all the good stuff, and voila, that is that. But by the way, I'm going to go under assets and create a new folder. This is going to be our prefabs folder. And I'm going to drag and drop the box right here because we need the box as a prefab. So this is pretty much everything there is to it when it comes to the setup. I can now delete the box from the game since I have dragged it and dropped it in the prefabs folder. Make sure that you do that first before you delete it from the hierarchy. So first drag and drop it, okay? So I'm gonna go now here and right click, create a C# script, and this is going to be our box script. And by the way, right click and create a new folder. So create folder, scripts, and let me drag this box script in the scripts folder. Open it, come on, open it please. Okay, so scripts, and we are also going to have our gameplay controller and another script. Right click, create a C# script. This one is going to be our box spawner. Right click, come on, go here, and another C# script, and this is going to be our camera follow. So I created everything before we start doing anything, and I'm rhyming now because I'm a rapper, so I'm gonna attach the camera follow on the camera. We will right click here and create an empty game object. This one is going to be our gameplay controller, and we are going to attach the gameplay controller script on it. We are also gonna select the box spawner and attach the box spawner. And lastly, go back here in the prefabs folder and select the box, open prefab, and go here under add component and filter for the box script and attach it on the game object. Simple as that. So what are we going to do first? Well, first, let's go inside here, scripts folder, and let me just go back here. So inside of the scripts folder, double click on the box script. What do we need from our box? Well, from our box, we need to start moving it left and right, but we also need to have our box spawner who is going to start spawning. He is going to start spawning the box. And it's the most simple one. So the box spawner is the simplest script because here simply what we're gonna have is a public game object. This is going to be our box prefab like this. And simply what we are gonna do is we're going to say here public void spawn box like this. And here inside, simply we're going to say game object box underscore obj. It's gonna be equal to instantiate box prefab. And lastly, box obj dot transform dot position is gonna be equal to transform dot position of the box spawner. So if I go here, and we're not gonna call it from this script, we're gonna call it from the gameplay controller, but simply to demonstrate in the start function, if I call spawn box, it is simply going to spawn it at the position where the box spawner is. So if I hit the play button, you will see now the box will be spawned right away, but no, it's not because, well, why? If I go back here in the console, you see unassigned reference exception. If I double click, it is pointing where? So come on. It's not pointing anywhere, which is weird. You probably need to assign box prefab variable of the box spawner script. You see, box, it is actually, I'm teaching you here how to read these errors, because a lot of you are asking me these errors and, oh, I have a problem here, and then you copy paste the whole script. I'm not gonna look at your whole script when you copy paste it in a YouTube comment, so don't do that. And as you can see here, if I click on this, it's pointing to the box spawner, but here at the bottom is saying you probably need to assign a box, the box prefab variable of the box spawner. What does that mean? That means that we did not attach the prefab. So we need to go here in the prefabs folder, select the box spawner, and drag and drop the prefab right here. This is what we need to do. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. So if I go back now and hit the play button inside of our game, you will see that the box will be spawned, and it is indeed spawned, but you see, we don't see it for some reason. Why? So let me just go here, BG. Why don't we see the box? Order in layer 3 for some reason. Well, I think we need to do this. So box spawner, it's at, okay, so I see the issue here is, pay attention, if I hit the play button, you see if I select the box clone, pay attention here, notice the Z position is -10. If I set it at 0, it is visible. So for some reason, I don't know why this right here is, well, yeah. Anyways, what I'm gonna do is this. This is how I'm going to fix it. Vector3 temp is equal to transform position, temp.z is equal to 0f, and I'm gonna go here and assign temp to the box obj transform position. So now if I go back and if I hit the clear in the console, for some reason I like to do that, I don't know why. Anyways, I'm gonna hit the play button now, and we will see the box right here, and it started to fall down. Okay, now you saw we had an unexpected error. So the thing that you just saw, that where I had to improvise, I did not do this in the original project that I had prepared for this tutorial, but you saw me how I fixed it. So this is how I also want you to think about fixing problems, okay? But I don't want to do, first of all, I'm not gonna call this right here. We are going to do that from the gameplay controller, but before we do that, we don't want the script to do the following. So if I hit the play button, I don't want to spawn the script, or the box, excuse me, and for it to start falling down right away. Instead, what I want to do is, in the box script, I'm gonna go here and I'm going to say serialize. Actually, I'm gonna say private float, and this one is going to be our minimum x, which is gonna be equal to -2.2f, and maximum underscore x, which is going to be equal to 2.2f. Now, what is this minimum and the maximum? I'm going to start moving the box left and right. So if I go here, take my highlight tool, I'm going to start moving the box left and right within these bonds right here, you see? So what I did is the following, and no, I don't want to do this. I want to do this, okay? Open it, okay? And I want to hide it. So what I did is the following. I took the box and then I moved it here in the scene. So I took it and I moved it up to here, and this is -2.3, and I said -2.2. So it's gonna go up to this point here and up to this point over there. So this is what I did. That's how I got the -2.2 and +2.2. So moving forward, what I'm gonna do here is create a private bool, and this is going to be can move. I'm also going to create a private float for the move speed, which is gonna be equal to 2f. We're also going to have a private rigid body 2D, which I'm going to call my body. We are also going to have a private bool game over, like this. Below, we are going to have a private bool, and this is going to be ignore collision, and a private bool ignore trigger. Okay, so these are all the variables that we need. In the awake function, and of course, I'm not gonna go now, we're going to do this for this, this for this. You will see when I start using all of these variables for what we are going to use them. In the awake function, let me just tag the class here. I forgot to do this. I cannot believe my signature move was tagging the class and giving a little bit space. Now in the awake function, we're gonna say my body is equal to get the component, rigid body 2D component. so that we could get a reference to the component of the rigid body. Now, what we need to do in the start function, we need to allow it to move. So can move will be equal to true because we need to allow the movement. I'm also gonna randomize left or right movement. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna say if a random range from 0 and 2 is greater than 0, basically this will return either 0 or 1. It will not return 2. And I've talked about this millions of times. So if the value here is greater than 0, then I'm gonna say move speed multiplied equals to by -1. So it will simply randomize the movement, because here below the update, I'm gonna use void move box. And inside of this function, I'm simply going to test this. I'm going to test if can move, so if we can move, I'm going to take the vector3 temporary variable, which is gonna be equal to transform position. And below, I'm gonna say temp dot x plus equals to move speed multiplied with time delta, time to smooth things out, because I'm gonna call this move box in the update function. So in order to smooth things out, I'm going to use time dot delta time, but below here, I'm gonna say transform position is equal to temp, but in between, in the middle, I'm going to test if the temp x is greater than maximum x. I'm gonna simply take the move speed and multiply it with -1. This will change the direction. And simply here below, I'm going to say else if temp x is less than the minimum x. If it's less than the minimum, again, I'm going to multiply that with the negative, because it will then change the direction. Now we will need to do one more thing, but I'm gonna demonstrate that right now. So if I go back here, and we're still calling spawn box in the start function, so pay attention. See, this is not what we want, you see? This is not what we want, okay? So this is not what we want. So let me just quickly go here. Okay, yeah. So you saw that the box was moving to the left and then to the right. So pay attention, okay? Here, and then you see this is not what we want. We don't want this. So if I go back here in the Visual Studio, here for the my body, we need to stop it from going down, from falling down. We need to say my body dot gravity scale is equal to 0. So now, if I go back and if I hit the play button, pay attention what's gonna happen. The box is going to start moving left and right, same as you saw in the preview. This is what we want to do. This is the cool thing that we will want to do. Now, let me go back here in the box spawner, and I'm gonna remove this because, again, I said we're not going to call it from here. We're gonna call it from the gameplay controller. So going in the gameplay controller, this is going to be our instance, which is going to control the game. And here I'm going to tag the class by typing class and holding enter, giving a little bit space, my signature move, you got that. So we're going to create here a public static gameplay, so gameplay controller, which is going to be instance. Now in the awake function, I'm going to test if instance is null, then instance will be equal to this. This is what we want to do with the instance. And I just wanted to get that out of the way. If you don't know what this right here is, then you will need to watch my video about singletons. So go then on AwesomeTuts, actually on youtube.com, type AwesomeTuts singletons tutorial. Right here below, we're going to say public box spawner, and this is going to be our box spawner like this. We are also going to have a public box script, and that is going to be our current, so current box like this. Now this one is going to be hide in inspector because we don't want it to be visible in the inspector panel. Simple as that. So we don't want it to be visible in the inspector. Now when it comes to the current box, you see right here the current box, we need to get a reference to the box that's currently holding this script. So we're gonna do right here in the start, when we spawn a new box, immediately we're going to call the gameplay controller that instance current box is equal to this, so that we have a reference to the current box. Because we will need to detect from within the gameplay controller, so from within the gameplay controller, we are going to detect the input touch. And let me go back to the gameplay controller. So in the gameplay controller, we have the current box. We are also going to have here a public camera follow script, and this is going to be our camera. Why did I name it camera follow? So it's going to be camera script. Okay, yeah, but it's camera script. For some reason I named it camera follow. And we're going to have here a private int move count. Okay, these are all the variables that we need for our gameplay controller. Now inside of the start function, we are going to call our box spawner. So this bad boy over here. So you're going to say box spawner dot spawn the box. But let me quickly go here in Unity so that I can attach all of these right here in the gameplay controller. So we need to attach the box spawner and we need to attach the camera script. So make sure that you do that, or otherwise it will not work. You will have issues, okay? You will have issues. And I don't mean issues like in real life, but issues in your game. Now in the update function, we're going to detect when we touch on the screen or when we touch with our finger on the phone. So we're going to do something like void detect input. And here we're going to test if input.get mouse button down, and mouse button is going to be 0, which is the left mouse button click, or our finger. So when we touch with the finger in our game. And for that, here we're going to call the current box dot drop box. Now this is not the Dropbox. Don't think that you're now CEO of Dropbox. This is not the case. Instead, we're going to go here in our box. So box script, and right here below, we are going to say void drop box, because we're going to drop the box. And simply, what's that going to do? We're going to call can move is now equal to false. My body dot gravity scale is now equal to random arrange from 2 to, let's say, 4. And voila, you see? And what is this going to do? What good is this going to do? Well, if I go back now in the game, and we have a problem. So let me see here. Okay, it's inaccessible due to its protective level. What I did wrong here is I need to type here public, because if you only type void, it's the same as if you typed private, and private is not accessible in other classes. So now, you see, error gone. I don't have anything to fear, but pay attention what's gonna happen. If I hit the play button, you see the box is now moving. If I click anywhere on the screen, I'm gonna drop it, you see? Clicking, did I click? What's happening, man? Why aren't you listening? Let me go here in the gameplay controller. Oh, yeah, it's a really good idea to call a function that you want to get executed. Don't forget to do that. So let's go back. If I hit the play button, pay attention now. So if I click anywhere on the screen, the box is gonna stop moving and it's gonna start falling down. You see, bam, it fell down. You see? So what happened? Well, this happened, detect input. If we press the mouse button down or with our finger, we're gonna call the current box to drop the box. Do you see now why we need a reference to the current box? Why we are calling it right here? Because we need to drop the current box, and we are gonna do that in the gameplay controller. And it happens simply, it happens when we detect the input. We simply call drop box. And what is happening in that function, we're simply saying can move is false, which will stop the movement right here. As you can see, it will stop the movement. So here, we will not move left and right anymore. And we will return the gravity scale, which actually is the gravity that pulls down, it pulls down our box. Simple as that. So this is everything what we need to do. But we're not done with our box script. The next thing to do is we need to type here void, so void landed, so that we know that we landed. And when we land, we're gonna say here if game over, we're gonna say return. So if the game over is, we're gonna return, we're not gonna execute the code that's below, and the code below is gonna be ignore collision is gonna be equal to true, ignore trigger is gonna be equal to true, and below we're gonna call our gameplay controller dot instance dot spawn new box like this, and we're gonna call gameplay controller dot instance dot move camera. In the gameplay controller, let's go back and create these. So inside of the gameplay controller, we are going to create a public void spawn new box, and below it we're gonna say void new box. And in the new box, we're simply going to call the box spawner and spawn another box. Simple as that. And here we are going to call invoke, in quotes, new box after 2 seconds, which will invoke that function. As you can see here, it will invoke, it will call spawn new box, and it will call it right here. It will invoke it after 2 seconds, which is this one right here. Now, when it comes to moving the camera, so right here below, I'm going to say public void move camera. Here, I'm going to say move count plus plus so that we count how many times we're going to move the camera. And I'm going to say here, if move count is equal to 3, that means we called this 3 times. Then I'm going to say move count is equal to 0 to reset it. And then I'm going to call our camera script. So I'm going to say camera script dot target position dot y plus equals 2f. And I'm going to comment this out. We will come back to it. And below, the last function that we have in the gameplay controller is public void restart game. And simply what we are going to do here is that we're going to say Unity engine dot scene management dot scene manager dot load scene. But I'm going to copy this from here to here. And I'm going to paste it again. And I'm going to say current or get active scene, or actually, yeah, get active scene dot name. This is gonna reload the current active scene, which in our case will be the scene that we are currently in. And I did all this just to remove this error. And basically, this is nothing new. We did all of this. You should know all these things that you see right now. You should know how to do them. So you see right here, this is gonna simply load the level with the current name, which is the current level that we are in. Now below our landed, we are gonna say void restart game. And here in our restart game, we're going to call the gameplay controller.instance to restart the game. Simple as that. Now, the magic happens inside of on collisions and on triggers. So in the on collision, so void on collision enter 2D, and I'm going to say here target. And below, we are going to say void on trigger enter 2D, and also this is going to be the target. So in on collision enter, the first thing that I'm going to test is if our ignore collision. So if ignore collision is true, then we're going to return and we're going to ignore the collisions. If our target.gameObject.tag is equal to platform, like this, we are going to call invoke landed, like this, and we're going to invoke it after 2 seconds. Why? Well, when we land on the platform, we're going to call landed and we're going to invoke it after 2 seconds, which means it will call this right here. It will ignore the collision, ignore the trigger, and it will spawn a new box and it will move the camera. Simple as that. Now, but as a precaution, I'm also here going to say ignore collision is equal to true. And I'm going to copy and paste this, and if target game object tag is equal to box, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. But you should see where the problem is here. I want you to fix this problem on your own. You should know what the issue is here. I mean, this code, this right here is going to work. All of this here that you see, it's going to work like a charm, no problems whatsoever, but there is a shorter way to write it. That is one of the assignments in this video, so please think of it, what I did here, and try to make it better. So moving forward, what I'm going to do here in on trigger enter, I'm also going to say if ignore trigger is true, then I'm going to say return, and I'm going to execute the code below. But what I'm going to do here, I'm going to say if target tag is equal to game over, which means if we touch the game over, which is this right here. You see, the game over is this right here. If I turn off the BG, this is our game over. You see, this right here, which means if we fall outside of this platform, so if we fall, then it's game over for us. We cannot do anything. And let me go back here. So if that happens, I'm going to say here, cancel invoke landed so that it does not execute. I'm going to say game over is equal to not tree, but true. I'm also going to say ignore trigger is equal to true. And I'm going to invoke the restart game. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to invoke restart game in 2 seconds. Simple as that. So we basically have everything to like play our game. So if I go back here in Unity and let me just play the game a little bit so that you can see what is going on. If I hit the clear button, so if I press here on the screen, bam, we drop the box. Pay attention, it landed. Notice what is happening. You see, it spawned a new one. You see? Why? Well, because again, if I go back here, it landed on the platform. You see, if target game object tag is equal to platform, I'm gonna call invoke landed after 2 seconds. And in the landed, we are gonna ignore collision. Okay, that is fine. But then we're gonna call spawn new box, which you saw the box has spawned, and we are also gonna move the camera. Now we still did not get to the point where we are gonna move the camera. We will code that in a moment, but you saw what happened. Okay, let's go back here and try it again, but this time I'm gonna see if I can land on the box. So you see here, bam, okay, we called landed. Now we are gonna spawn a new box, which you are gonna see right here. Here is a new box, and again, whoop. So now we have another box, and it's a box on a box, and now we're gonna spawn a new one. You see right there. Now you can say invoke it after 1 second. Again, I'm gonna leave it here, and you see now we are stacking these boxes one on another, and we need to start moving the camera. But what I'm gonna show you is now if I move the box, if it falls down, you see, bam, it fell down. Now we're gonna restart the game. You saw? Because the box fell down. The box fell down and hit this, you see this collider right here, which is the game over collider. And if we hit the game over, we're gonna cancel the landed. We are gonna say game over is true. We're gonna ignore the trigger, and then we are gonna restart the game again. You see, this is what is happening in our game. And the last thing for us to do is to make the camera follow or move upwards. And for that, we're simply gonna say hide, not hide flags, but hide in inspector, and it's gonna be a public vector3 target position. This is that one that I commented out here. So I'm gonna uncomment it now. So when the count, we are gonna call it 3 times. So when we release 3 boxes, this will be called like 3 times, as I already said. So when we reach the move count is equal to 3, we're gonna reset it back to 0, and then we are gonna add to the position of the camera script target position y plus equals 2, which means it will start moving. But where? Well, let me just go here, and I'm gonna say private float smooth move. It's gonna be equal to 1. And inside of the update, so right here, update, I'm gonna say transform position is gonna be equal to vector3.lerp, not left, but lerp. And we're gonna lerp from transform position towards the target position in smooth move multiplied with time dot delta time. Simple as that. And when we call this right here, so when we call move camera and we add 2 to the camera movement script, voila, then we are simply going to do what? Let me just go here. Then we are going to move towards this target position. Every time we add 2 to it, we're going to move. But here initially, when we run our game in the start function, I'm going to say target position is going to be equal to transform position. So that currently where we are, the camera will not move at all. And basically this is our game. So if I go back here, hit the play button, pay attention now. So notice it's gonna count 3 times. Pay attention here. Count with me. Move count plus plus. When it's equal to 3, you're gonna move the camera. So that means when I release this 3 times, okay, this is 1. So we're gonna release it 2 more times, and I need to set the invoke to a smaller time. Okay, so this is the second one, and now we are gonna have the third one when I release it and we spawn a new box. So pay attention. Releasing it, this is a 3rd time. So pay attention, when you spawn a new box, the camera, you see, started to move, and here it is. Here is our new box. Okay, you can fix anything here like the timing and stuff like that, but yeah, I'm not gonna do that. So we are good to go. So again, we have 1, and now you're gonna see 2. So okay, bam, 2, and again we're gonna have 1 more, which is 3. So come on, voila, and this is 3. So now we're gonna start moving the camera up. You saw that. Now I set it to plus equals 2. It can be plus equals 3, 4, 10, whatever you want to do, but basically this is our game. And I know it was a short game, but it's a really cool one. It's a fun one. You can play it on your mobile game because for some reason you guys are obsessed with mobile games. So there you have it. You can play it on your mobile. You can tell your friends you created it, blah, blah, blah. Do whatever you want to do to make yourself feel cool, okay? So, yeah, basically this is the tutorial. Download the complete project. Link will be in the description below. Same as the assets and everything else. If you like these short tutorials, shorter ones, half hour, 1 hour, where I create these simple games, let me know to create more. And for here from awesome.com, smash the like, smash the subscribe. I will see you guys in another video.